What's going on YouTube? Crooked here from Off the Brink TV, bringing you another video. This time an update video of the my Crusader. I know that I was at a lot lower level before. I promised I'd update while I was leveling. However, as I got finished with normal mode, I just had some friends power level me to 70. I found this way to get massive amounts of experience and power level super fast that I just could not pass up the opportunity, and I'll be releasing a video on that as well. But I wanted to get into the Crusader build that I feel is the best build at the moment, or what I feel in terms of beginners, or where you don't have the best gear, and what I've actually been using at level 70 to do adventure modes on both normal and the lower tiers of difficulty. I had a very similar build to this, maybe a couple of different passives as I was learning. However, I found that these passives actually work a little better, and shout to Cal Gaming. I actually found it on his YouTube channel while I was just browsing some builds. My build actually is a lot like his, however, a lot of these that I was using, a lot of these abilities and cooldowns I was actually using before I pulled up his video. But now I actually kind of copied his passives as well, and I found that to be a lot more successful. So I'll put a link to his channel. I definitely want to give credit where credit is due. I don't want to act like I came up with this build entirely. However, it is what I've been using, and he takes more of a Torment approach when describing what he's doing in terms of gears, in terms of gear and in terms of the abilities themselves and his rotations. But I'm going to be talking a little more about the beginner level, because I am a beginner in terms of Paragon level and gear, a lot less than he is in damage as well. So basically, you want to have your slash with the zeal, because you gain your attack speed every time you attack, and this is especially great for having a two-handed and a shield combo, which I actually got quite lucky and grabbed this legendary two-handed sword, which is beastly. Great life after kill, not that that's much, but the 32% chance to blind. But the big one here is the reduces cooldown of all skills by 8%. That is huge, because we all know that the Heaven's Fury is quite overpowered, and it's been overpowered since the beta. Getting this ability off, and it uses no wrath, getting this ability off as much as possible, even on trash, is going to make you amazing. So I found that while I was trying to gear myself up, I don't have the greatest gear, trust me, I know. But while I was gearing up, I noticed huge increases in damage when I would go towards holy damage buffs, cooldown decreases, and also I got some items here that gave me plus damage to Heaven's Fury, because you know, when you get these plus ability damage items, it's usually 8%, 12%. Look at this holy on these bracers. These bracers are alright, they're nothing that crazy. Nice life on hit, it's a pretty good pickup. However, I enchanted it and got a little lucky with the holy skills dealing 12% more damage. That is a lot more damage, especially if you're using Heaven's Fury, which is a holy ability. And then you have your Blessed Hammer as well, that's going to be a holy ability. So that's really great. It increases your damage huge, a lot more than strength is going to. I have this shield I got, which reduces all resource costs. However, I would like to change that to cooldown reduction as well, because even though most people complain about Wrath, I really don't have that much problem building Wrath, because if you're getting your abilities back off cooldown, like Akarat's Champion or Karat's Champion, however you pronounce it, if you're getting these things off cooldown, or Laws of Valor, you're just going to increase your attack speed and increase your rat generation by using your slash and keep on stacking and stacking and stacking and being able to build Wrath very, very easily. I have not had a problem, and I don't have that amazing gear at all. So I'm using Slash with Zeal. I'm also using Blessed Hammer. Obviously, I have to use this with Dominion, because it's going to follow you around. It's going to orbit you as you move. So you could just throw these out, kill a bunch of enemies, and then you could run to another group, and you're always doing damage around you. It's always popping off. So that's awesome. That's a must rune for me. The Steed Charge, I'm using Rejuvenation. However, since I'm in the low tiers of difficulty, I'm probably going to change this to something that is going to give me a little more damage. maybe Nightmare, maybe mess around with this other stuff. I might even change it because, like I said, this is for more lower difficulties, trying to build up your gear to go on to Torment or the higher tier of difficulty. So you might want to change this from Rejuvenation. I like to have the Steed Charge regardless because it gets you out of any types of CC and slows. You're trying to chase a treasure goblin, or you're trying to get to your next enemy. You don't want to be slowed or have these movement impairing effects on you. Another thing that I'm using, obviously, is Heaven's Fury. I just said this before, but I'm using the Ascendancy because it follows the enemy. You don't have to worry about it missing the mobs or anything like that. We went through the Karat's Champion, but I'm using Prophet. That helps me gain additional armor. However, you might want to switch this up. I'm probably going to switch this up. I'm actually butchering in normal mode right now. I'm butchering in the lower difficulty, so I'm going to probably change it to something that's going to help me a little more in terms of getting more damage out and things of that nature. But this is a must for me. It's a must for me. With the attack speed being the way it is, especially if you have a two-hander and a shield, I don't know how anybody's not using this. It's so overpowered. Laws of Valor, obviously, another one, increasing your attack speed, another must ability. And I don't want to go too much into the passives, but obviously I'm using Heavenly Strength right now. I switched it from Wrathful. There's really no need in the lower tiers for you to really be having that much defensive ability, so I want more of an offensive approach here. The Blunt, you want it to increase the damage of your Justed and Blessed Hammer because you're using your Blessed Hammer here. Holy Cause, the amount of holy damage dealt by your weapon is increased by 10%. Again, like I said before, it's huge to have holy damage increasing buffs. And also, obviously, when you deal holy damage, you're going to heal 1% of your life. So if you have gear that's giving you plus holy damage, you're going to be rejuvenating more life on hit as well, which is clutch. And right there, Righteousness, most people recommend that you switch out Righteousness with Heavenly Strength if you're going to be going with a shield and two-hander. However, like I said, lower tiers, more offense. So that's it in terms of my abilities and the passives. And obviously, my gear, like I said, is not the greatest. However, what I've been focusing on, just as a starting point, is really trying to get a reduction of the ability cooldowns, holy damage, and crit chance, crit damage where I can. And that's really an attack speed. Those are my main focus, not in any particular order, but if I had to put it in order, I would probably say attack speed first, reduction in cooldowns, then critical hit damage, then critical hit chance, somewhere around that range. However, my attack speed and the cooldown reduction would be way up on the top of the list. And I'll start this event so you can actually see some gameplay using this build. Another thing to note, I've noticed that the Crusader is a lot different than a Barb in many ways. One of those ways is, instead of saving some of those cooldowns for elite mob packs, you definitely want to be using your cooldowns even during trash. They're not as strong, some of them aren't as powerful as Barbarian abilities. However, you're executing your cooldowns about twice the amount of time. So let's say if you're doing half the damage, but you're using the cooldowns twice the amount of times, it evens out that way. And I kind of like that. I like utilizing my cooldowns as much as possible and being able to execute my abilities a lot. That's why the Crusader is actually appealing to me even more come endgame, because of how much he benefits from that reduction of cooldown statistic. So with that, I'll leave you with some gameplay footage. And if this helped you, give it a thumbs up. As always, comment, subscribe, you know, all that good stuff.